So I'm so excited today. This is the Millionaire Mom Method. I'm so excited to have Kate Simpson. She is an energy healing practitioner for people and pets. Welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be
That's a-
here.
Yay, yay. So, with these interview series, I always love to focus on how to teach other women, inspire, and grow together, right? That is my big motto in life is that we rise together. So with that, I would love to hear kind of your inspiration. Like was there a moment? Was there a multitude of moments? What got you into kind of this energy healing world and made you want to like have a business and share it with the world?
Yeah, it's something that I was someone who was working in a very traditional work that was, and it kind of just led me to burnout. I had experienced
Sure.
burnout more than once. I didn't know what burnout was. I didn't know that
Yeah.
I was in it, but
Yeah.
I had come
Something.
from a place where I had learned a lot about, natural and holistic approaches to your health. So when I did get sick, I dealt with an autoimmune disorder, and
Ah,
I knew that I wanted to combine both Eastern and Western medicine. So I absolutely worked with the medical system, but I also worked with a naturopathic doctor and just learned a whole
amazing.
lot about my body. And I learned a lot that we have this energy system that needs as much support as our
Yeah.
respiratory and digestive system and all of that. And
Yeah.
so from that experience, I really learned that really stress was breaking my body down. And
Wow.
after I got well, I found myself in the same pattern of overworking, overstressing. And
Of
then
course.
kind of one day it just dawned on me that like if I don't change how I deal with life and stress and the realities of the world we live in, I was going to invent a new disease.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
was like, okay, I need to figure this part out. So
Yes.
it led me to read an incredible book. It's called The Emotion Code. And I always share that what I do, anybody can learn to
Mm.
do. I didn't have like this massive gifted download that came to
Yeah.
me or anything like that.
It was
I
out of need, right? Out of
Yeah,
necessity.
I read this book and it helped me. And I always called it my own like self-care. It wasn't, I
Yeah.
didn't even really focus on the fact that I was moving energy. It was just, oh my God, I'm releasing stress. And this was my own self-care. And then through actually working with my own dog who had a pretty miraculous um, health situation as well. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to
Wow.
try and work on my dog and see if I can help my dog.
Yes. Yes.
It helped him.
Wow.
That's really when I went from this is something I'm doing just for my own self-care to this is what I'm meant to do.
Oh
And
my
that's kind of the
God.
transition. And so
Yeah.
that's when I made it official and I learned more and got certifications. I've learned a whole bunch of different modalities and
Yes.
kind of combined them together. But it was really that situation where it took me from this is just something I'm doing to this is something I have to do for other people.
I
And
love that. I love that. And so, so speak a little bit about how you help, right? People and pets. If you want to share a little bit about your pet story, if you want to, or just how in general you've turned this into helping others.
yeah, for sure. So for me, it was very much when I started my business, I just knew I had to include animals. So I absolutely
Mm.
help people,
Hmm.
but I
Hmm.
do help pets too. So um,
Amazing.
and it's just something that I just knew I had to be an advocate for them as well.
Yes.
But really, like what I do is I really meet people where they're at. So if people are in a state of like stress or anxiety or burnout, like what I was in, they can't make decisions. They find their heart palpitates, their hands are shaking, they're just managing and getting through the day, or they're handling so many things, but they feel very like disconnected from themselves. Um,
Yeah.
as well as people who like a lot of entrepreneurs I work with because
Sure.
they
It's a
have all this.
transformational journey.
Yes, very much so. And not only are they working a business, but they're taking care of their families, and they
Yes.
have all these strategies, but
Yes.
they feel stuck and they don't know why and they just can't seem to move forward. And so they want to label themselves as I'm self-sabotaging or I have imposter syndrome or all of
Yeah.
these things, which are real.
Yeah.
I just try to share with people that all of that is energy. You're
Yeah.
made of energy. Your thoughts are energy, your emotions are energy, your belief patterns are all energy. And so I always share that, you're not stuck, you have stuck energy. You have
Mm,
these emotions that are suppressed or trapped in your body. You
okay.
have these thought patterns and these beliefs. All of that is an energy. And the cool thing is what I've learned is all energy can be measured, all energy can be identified. And that's what I do is I help identify it and then release that vibration from the body. It's very gentle, it's very quick, it's very easy. I love
Wow.
demonstrating it.
Yes.
And then when you release that energy, literally that vibration leaves your body, and then your body just does what it's designed to do, and that's rebalance and repair and heal itself. And that
Wow.
can look like physical healing, as far as less tension in the body, your body's organs working more efficiently, those
Mm,
aches and pains can go away. But it also can look like now more emotional strength and intelligence, like now you can think more clearly. When a stressful situation comes up, you're able to respond versus react. You're able to stop
mm,
and breathe and think for a moment, because sometimes we
wow.
can't control if stuff with
For
family
sure.
comes up,
Yeah.
or you're in a meeting and something gets triggered, and
Oh,
it's
yes.
you find that the more that you release this pent up trapped energy, the more we release that stuff, the more you naturally are able to access, a more positive way of acting and
Mm,
reacting, and it's normal and natural. So your confidence goes up, so that imposter syndrome goes away. Where maybe you procrastinated, you just naturally start moving
mm.
forward and taking action. It's not mindset, it's energy. And when that energy's gone and positively repatterned, you naturally can move forward.
It's
So,
easier, I would imagine,
yes,
right? Making
yes,
it so much easier. I think
yeah.
that's so true because we often know, right? Oh, yeah, it would be better if I were more positive, less critical of myself, or, right, it would be helpful if I was, just more motivated. But,
Mhm.
right, sometimes, I mean, that's way easier said than done, obviously. So
Yeah.
clearing some blocked energy sounds like obviously it would make it much easier to make the right decision.
I always say it's not a mindset problem and you're not stuck. It's just move that energy, and then what
Yeah,
you know to do just comes forward, and you don't have
amazing.
to convince yourself to take action. You just find
Yeah.
that this is more ease. This is, you're better able to move forward. So,
I love that. I love that. So here, right, we're all about kind of teaching, sharing little lessons, but tell us how people can kind of get started with you. Is there something you suggest people to kind of at least think about their own energy on their own, but then obviously they need you for diving deeper?
yeah, for sure. So, I definitely work with people individually, one to one, as well as I do group workshops and live group energy healing sessions.
Amazing.
So, workshops, those will be starting back up again really soon, where it's a chance to come in and learn about a specific topic. But I not only teach about energy, but I give you practical hacks that you can use in your
Amazing.
everyday life. You don't need me for it. You can actually move
Wow.
your own energy. And then
Amazing.
I love taking volunteers at those workshops for live demonstrations, so you can see how
Wow.
simple and easy it is. So those
So
are things
cool.
that I do somewhat regularly.
Amazing.
But this month specifically, the best way to really just explore this is to come to my group energy clearing. It's called the Pressure Reset. And
Ooh, sounds perfect.
it is definitely a space where we're not just going to talk. We are going to actually take everyone in that group and we are going to release suppressed energy. And it's gentle and it's
Wow.
natural and it's easy. You just have to be willing to be open to the process. And it's a
Amazing.
group healing. You can be on screen, off screen, nothing, if you want to just you don't need to
Interesting.
be visible on the screen, but everybody's going to receive this energy release and
Wow.
you'll actually feel the shift. And I think that's why it's a great place
Wow.
to begin in a
Yeah,
group
get
versus,
started.
you know,
Yeah.
because in a group, it's like you can start to feel that difference. And then
Yeah.
it might lead you to, you know what? I need to do this. Like you might have clarity about your next step. Or it might lead to, gosh, this maybe revealed something that you want to go deeper with, and then we can
Mm,
talk about what it's like to work one-on-one
I love
in
that.
that sense. So yeah,
Amazing. Awesome. And we'll include links for all of that below so people can get in touch with you. And tell me a little bit about how you were open. I know you said at the beginning, like, how were you even open to kind of energy? Was there, like, were your parents really kind of open to this kind of thing? Or was there, I know you mentioned the book, but how were you even open to, because I think that's kind of I'm sure the challenge that you run up against, that people are kind of like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, I definitely grew up in the traditional go to a doctor every year
Yes,
kind of situation.
sure.
But my dad was always kind of reading books about natural and holistic things,
Oh, okay.
so I kind of have this memory, or my dad had no idea how to cook, so he'd be buying all these weird things that he read about in a book that would be food, that would be medicine, and we were
Good
like,
for you.
Dad's buying horse food again, and my mom's like, I don't know how to cook
What are
this,
we supposed to do with this? Oh, that's
right?
hilarious.
But
Oh,
it did open my mind to that there's other
yeah,
ways. And
other
oh,
ways.
yeah, I didn't really grow up with it, but um, as I used to work in the restaurant industry, so I got exposed to a lot of different types of food and being creative with
Oh,
dining and eating. So to me, it was
yeah.
like a fun experience. But then my next career was working for a wellness company. It was a direct marketing
Oh,
company that sold vitamins.
oh, gotcha.
That's where I started to meet chiropractors, acupuncturists, different holistic
Oh,
practitioners that
yes.
started to teach me that we have this energy system in our body, just
Wow.
like we have that digestive and respiratory system. And that I
Yeah.
started to learn that food is more than just something you eat because it tastes good, but it
Yeah.
really can not only fuel the body, I think a lot of us have heard that, but that food was the original medicine.
Can heal.
And,
Yeah.
the problem is in the medical system, they can't
Yeah.
patent, they can't patent a food.
Ah, sure, sure,
So
sure.
they find, I thank God for
Sure.
the medical system. They help
Yeah,
save my life,
of
but
course.
they have their lane. And then
Yep.
there's this, before we had modern medicine, people found nutrients in food that would heal and restore health in the body. So it
Yeah.
started from a food perspective and this idea of
Interesting.
nutrition that
Yeah.
just opened my mind to, oh, what's acupuncture all about? What's
Yeah.
chiropractic all about? And then I started learning about people using muscle testing to ask your own body what's wrong, and
Ah,
that your body knows how to heal, but we just
yeah.
need to identify what's in the way. And so that's what kind of a process. It wasn't immediate. It was this awareness that just kept
Yeah.
growing. And then it would never leave my mind. Like I just, oh,
Love
I
that.
wonder about this. And so it was just, I was
Yeah.
meant to explore it, I think. But
Absolutely. I love
yeah.
that. And I think that's so true that, after I think so often as adults, we go through our educational years, right? And then we think, okay, we're done learning. But I really think, right? I really think being curious and continuing to learn, I think is really what life is all about. I think we're meant to, just always be kind of curious and always be kind of a forever student, I feel like.
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
Yeah. And so I love that you said, right, a little bit of a combo of Eastern and Western, right? Obviously, I still think, and it sounds like you do too, there's a place for modern medicine, right? Obviously.
Yes.
Like, we're not saying don't go to the doctor by any means, but I think there's so much more. And when you were speaking, I even heard or remembered hearing a doctor say they're given like a chapter on nutrition in
Mhm.
all of their medical training.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something we do every single day. To me,
Yeah.
that was shocking, right?
Yeah.
That like nutrition is not a larger part of their training. That's just not what they're trained on. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that, we would seek multiple sources of our healing or whatnot.
Yeah, I really looked at when I was dealing with, my situation when I was dealing with autoimmune years ago. I was like, okay, I have a team of people. Like, so
Yes,
I have my doctors that are supporting
sure.
me, and I have this naturopathic practitioner that's
Yes,
supporting me. And then
of
I
course.
found an energy healing practitioner that was supporting me.
Amazing.
And then I
Wow.
had to do some things, I had to implement it. And,
Yes.
the idea of having a community or a team working with you, I think was so impactful for me. Um,
Yes. It takes
Yeah.
a village, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's so true. And so here, I always love talking about kind of growing together, right? I think I probably kind of know your hope for the future, but what is kind of your hope for, um, the world's going to get crazier, right? Like what do we all kind of need to move into a more, I don't know, easy future? What's your hope for people to kind of take away from this or to be open to in the future?
Yeah, I mean, the future just the future holds so much. It's
Yes.
we think about our present and there's a lot happening, but
Yeah.
I feel like my hope is that each person really can learn to tune into their bodies
Yeah.
and their emotions and to follow their bliss and to follow their joy. And
Yes.
sometimes, we feel called to entrepreneurship or to building a business out of like mission or joy or
Yes.
this is what I'm meant to do, right? And then
Yes.
we sometimes then get caught up and
Yeah.
we
Talk
start to
ourselves out of it. Or
yeah, yeah. And
yes.
so my hope for the future is that everybody can tune in and find their passion and really just bring that to the world because the world needs your gifts. The world needs what
Yes.
your business is about, what your goals are about. Your family needs you to be the leader that you're meant to be, is to teach what you're meant to teach, to guide people in the way. And so
Yes.
it's really just tuning into, okay, this is what brings me joy. This is what brings me, to this bliss state and to follow your joy and passion to bring your gifts out there because I think that's what the
Love
world
that.
needs. The world needs people to be showing up for
Yeah.
whatever goal they
In their
have.
true
And
self.
so for me, it took
Purpose.
me a long time to figure out what my
Yes.
purpose was. It really did.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but I found it. So it's like, okay, I can only
Amazing.
go from here, right?
Yes. Yes. I love that. And so it sounds like too that I always think fear, right, is one of the biggest killer of dreams, obviously, in comparison. And it sounds like you even spoke to imposter syndrome and for entrepreneurs, right? I think that is something that is ever present every level, right? That I think we push ourselves to the next level of growth. I think there always comes a little bit of that fear, but it sounds like some energy, right? Clearing could certainly help you see your true passion, see your true purpose, be
Absolutely.
more willing to go for it, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what I do with energy healing is I really the simplicity of it is just asking your body what needs to be released, but it's not what I think. I don't ever
Sure.
guess or predict what's going to be released for that
Yeah.
individual or that animal. We just say,
Yeah.
okay, what is your goal or your focus and what's blocking that? What's in the way of you seeing it,
Amazing.
feeling it, experiencing it? And so when we look at, oh, I'm feeling fearful or I have doubts about this or doubts about that or insecurities, we can get to the root of that. And oftentimes we're experiencing it in the moment, but what's creating that fear is something from many, many years ago that you can't even remember. You may have even
Wow.
inherited energy, and
Wow.
that's where it gets a little woo-woo, and that's
Yes,
okay.
I love that.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Good.
just like you inherit your
Good.
hair color and your eye color, you
Yes, your
inherit
genes.
behavior patterns, you inherit emotions, you inherit things that you have no control over, but we can
Right.
identify and release that, and it just allows you to step into who you're meant to be, and the clarity does come. So
Amazing.
I absolutely work with even if it's just a parent that is okay, I don't know how to show up for my family. I feel lost, I feel stuck.
Mhm.
Okay, let's dive into that. Or someone who feels
Oh,
disconnected from their purpose or their goals. They don't know what brings them joy. We
yeah.
can dive into that. That's
Oh,
absolutely something that energy healing can do. And with my modalities specifically, you don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to
mhm.
know why you trapped that energy. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to relive it. You don't have to
I love that.
re-experience a negative trauma or situation to let it go. We can
Amazing.
we can just ask the body what's going on and release that. And so it's really it's drug free and it's painless, so
Yes, I love that. And speaking from experience, right? I have really loved working with you, and I was surprised at how easy, right, it was. And that's what I love is that you have, of course, zero judgment and zero we need to figure this out. Like that's not the point, right? It's just that it's gone. Like we've asked kind of on a subconscious level, right, what's kind of going on in your body because I think our true self has always been there, of course. And so
Yeah,
this is just kind of like digging away at whatever's kind of holding you back or whatnot.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Mhm. And so tell me a little bit more about pets, right? I always want to talk more about pets. Tell me how you kind of help and what transformations you've kind of seen over the years.
yeah, I've seen so many incredible transformations with animals and with pets because they absolutely have their own thoughts, their own emotions, their own experiences, 100%. But
Wow.
their brains don't question things the same way that ours do, right?
Oh,
So
sure.
animals tend to
Inhibitions.
respond. Yeah, they respond really quick. They
Oh,
reflect a lot of what's happening in our lives, that I've
yes,
learned over the years. Like a lot
yes,
of times we think, oh, they have this behavioral issue or they have
yes.
this problem. And in reality, it's because of what they experience. So they feel our energy, many
Interesting.
times.
Yes,
So when I work with animals, people ask, how do I do that? I
yes,
don't communicate with animals, although I do partner with someone who does.
yes, yes.
But I ask their body the exact same way I'd ask a human body what needs to be identified, released, what is the root of this trigger,
Wow.
and we're able to release it. And animals respond very quickly because again,
Wow.
they're not questioning the same.
Yes. Why? What?
Right. They
Yes.
just instantly feel better and they don't
Wow.
they react very quickly. So I've seen incredible transformations and to give you a few examples like um if you have like an animal that is maybe showing signs of separation anxiety, or they will only be around one human in the house, or they'll run from the other humans or
Mm.
something like that, or they might be growling at another person in the household, but they love that one human, right? That's who they've chosen. A lot of times we don't have to try and figure it out and work behaviorally, or we can just clear the energy, the trapped suppressed emotions, the things that are causing that energy between the other humans, and then it's like a big love fest in the house. So
I
I have
love
worked
it.
early on, like one of the first dogs that I worked with would not be in the same room as the husband in the house.
No
And not
way.
even be in the same room.
Oh
And
my gosh.
within 2 sessions, they're on the couch physically touching each other. Like it was adorable. I have this
Wow.
picture of this amazing
Um,
pet with this husband, and they're touching, like they're just next to each other, leaning on each
wow.
other. And that's
That's
just never
crazy.
happened. It never happened
Yes.
before.
Wow.
And that's a very
How
common
cool.
result. That's a very common result. When we look at like a physical challenge, that's where my own story comes in with my dog Nemo. He was a
Yes.
senior when we adopted him. We had no idea how old
Um,
he was. He was just this goofy looking dog that needed a home, and so we adopted him. He had like
oh,
no teeth or anything. He had no
oh
fur
my
in his
God.
ears or his tail. He was just this,
Oh,
but he was this happy guy who needed a home, so we adopted
wow.
him.
Wow.
And you know, a short time after that, we took him to the vet for just a cough, and we're like, maybe he has trachea collapse, or we don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but take him to the vet. And they did some blood work just because they had no history on him.
Yeah.
And a week later, we found ourselves doing exploratory surgery with this dog.
Wow.
He had a deformed gallbladder that needed to be removed. So,
Oh my
so for
gosh.
the medical system, the veterinary system saved my dog's life. Like
Wow.
that surgery had to happen, and
Yes.
it's amazing. The downside is that they decided midway through the surgery that even though they took that gallbladder out, that our dog would not live more than a week or two. And so they call us in the middle of the surgery
Oh my God.
and said, "Do you want to just say goodbye?" And we're like,
Oh my
"What?"
God. What?
Like,
Oh my God.
yeah,
No.
so shocking. And so
Oh.
we were like, "No, if it's
Yeah.
his time, we're gonna bring him home." You
Yeah.
know,
He can be with us.
and I get so emotional about it,
Yes.
um, but that's when I really was like, okay, I'm gonna just do everything I know to work on him physically. and to
Yeah,
see if I can support him.
of
And I
course.
also team approach, right? I had my cousin was a Reiki master, and I don't practice Reiki. I practice some other
Mm,
modalities. So he sent Reiki to my dog
wow.
Nemo. And then I was releasing and just releasing and releasing. And any time this dog would let me work on him, I worked on him. It was like
Wow.
2 to 3 days of I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to help my dog if
Yes,
I can.
of
And
course.
in a matter of 2 or 3 days, the vet called us and said, well, we don't understand, but all of his liver values improved. Um,
No
he's
way.
energetic. He's ready to come home, and he
So
lived
he
for
wasn't even with you. You were doing this while he was recovering at the vet's
He
office.
was in the ICU at the
Oh
vet
my
hospital, and I
gosh.
just went to work on him. So yeah,
Worked
I
on
don't
him.
need to be present. Like I don't need to be in the same room
Wow.
to do energy
That is
healing. And yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And in two
Wow.
days, he came home to us, and he lived for 2 more years. He thrived.
2 years.
Yeah, he had 2 more
Wow.
years.
Oh,
And we don't know. He could have been
what
17,
a gift.
18 when we adopted
Yeah,
him. We had no
of
idea.
course.
So it was the
Wow.
biggest gift ever to
Oh,
spend that time with him
of
after that
course.
situation. And again, Eastern and Western together,
Yeah, you needed
and
both.
yeah, but where, I always say that the vet hospital saved his life, but I helped him recover.
Of course.
And and
Because
it was two
they didn't have
years.
hope. That's
Yeah, they had
amazing.
zero. They're just like, yeah, we just don't think he's gonna make it. And 2 more years
How
we had, and he thrived. Like the fur grew back on his ears and his tail,
Oh
and
my
he's just
God.
a bundle of energy. And we didn't know what breed he was when we adopted him because he was such this, goofy looking
Yeah.
guy. We didn't even know he was sick, and then
Wow.
we're like, oh, he's a Yorkie poo. Okay. Like it just when he got healthy, we could figure that out.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wow. What a
So there's
testament. Yeah,
physical results that can come from energy work, and there is emotional results that can
wow.
come from energy work, like
That's
the
amazing.
families that I've helped with the anxiety and the stress and the burnout with
I
it
love that.
the whole family can benefit. So
Amazing. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story. What is the best way for people to get in touch? I know you said you have your workshop coming up, and we'll include some links below. Otherwise, you're on Facebook. Where else should people
yes. So
stay in your
my
world?
business is called Rebalance with Kate.
Love that.
And so I'm on Facebook with Rebalance with Kate, Instagram, as well as my website is launching very soon. So
Amazing.
rebalancewithkate.com, as well as just check out a future workshop. If you're hearing this right away, it's my 5-year anniversary. I'm doing a free
Yay.
raffle where you can experience a free energy healing session with me. It's an enter to win, totally free. And then I have that group session called the Pressure Reset. And that is a group energy clearing where we'll actually release energy. And that is probably the best place to start is to explore it and experience it for yourself. So,
Amazing. I can't wait. That sounds awesome. Anything else you would like to share with us or our audience?
yeah, just happy to be here. And, just think to yourself the next time you're feeling like overwhelmed and stressed that that's normal, it's healthy, and
Yeah.
that you're not stuck. You may have some stuck energy.
I love that. And what I love too is that it's okay, right? This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's not
Mhm.
about anything is bad or wrong or shouldn't have happened, right? Or
Right.
whatever,
Yep,
right?
you're meant
It's
to
just
feel.
that, yes,
You
you're meant to
are meant to
feel.
feel. You're not meant to suppress it. That's the problem. People tend
Yes,
to suppress their emotions, and that's when that energy gets trapped. In reality, everything you feel, when you feel what you feel it's right, it's appropriate. You're just not meant to hold on to it. So you're meant
I
to
love that.
experience it and let it go. So
Yeah,
if you're feeling like you can't move forward, then you've probably just, have some stuck energy that we can release.
I love that. Amazing. Thank you so much, Kate, for sticking around. And I will definitely just be encouraged to watch you grow. And I'm just excited to be in your world. So thank you so much.
Thank you.